Hi, my name is Tessa Manuello. Welcome to the 92 episode of the podcast. I hope you will like it.
Dzień dobry, nazywam się Jacek Stanisławski i witam serdecznie w podcaście Marketing Prawniczy w praktyce. Tę audycję nagrywamy w agencji Tomczak Stanisławski, która specjalizuje się w marketingu dla wymagających kancelarii i firm doradczych. Już za chwilę wysłuchasz kolejnej rozmowy z osobą, która sprawia, że rynek prawniczy w Polsce jest ciekawszy i bardziej nowoczesny. Jeśli wywiad będzie dla Ciebie interesujący, to oceń proszę ten odcinek w Spotify albo w Apple Podcasts. Będzie mi też bardzo miło, jeśli udostępnisz albo skomentujesz tę treść w mediach społecznościowych i oznaczysz mnie. Dzięki temu doświadczenia mojego gościa dotrą do nowych osób, a przy okazji ja dowiem się, dokąd dociera podcast. Jeśli interesuje Cię rozwijanie prawniczego biznesu, to zapraszam także do odwiedzenia portalu marketingprawniczy.com. Znajdziesz tam wszystkie odcinki podcastu, artykuły o rozwoju kancelarii i raporty branżowe, jak chociażby kancelaria na LinkedIn i język www kancelarii prawnych. Tam też dowiesz się, co przygotowaliśmy w najnowszym numerze drukowanego magazynu prawniczego. Jeśli zainteresuje Cię to wydanie, to wpisz kod podcast, a cena spadnie o 10%. To wszystko znajdziesz pod adresem marketingprawniczy.com. Tymczasem zapraszam do wysłuchania rozmowy. Tessa, welcome on the show. It's great to have you here on podcast. And today we'll talk about nothing other than legal design that you're an expert with. Just please tell our audience who you are, what you do for a living in terms of legal design.
Thank you so much for having me on the show, Jacek. I'm Tessa Manuello. I'm considered one of the pioneers in the legal design space. I work with legal professionals from all around the world who are interested in learning this methodology to use it in their practice so that they can innovate, come up with new ideas for their services or new ways to deliver the service. And this is especially relevant when we talk about this digital and technological transformation in the industry. You know, how to make sense of all the technologies, how to use this technology wisely. And well, legal design can definitely help with that. But it also helps with the customer experience. So happy to talk more about this. But in a nutshell, that's what I do. A little bit more about me personally. So I'm French and Canadian national and now based in South America since the pandemic. I have sort of changed my geographical location and do all of the work from home, from a beautiful beach town. And everything remote since the pandemic. And it's been really great. It's been really great. So yeah, that's a little bit about me, Jacek.
Thanks for this introduction. As I said, today we'll talk about all things legal design, but let's start with some success story because I think there's more and more discussion about legal design as a means to certain end and as a mean to enhance legal services. But can you please share any of your success stories within legal design?
Yeah, well, there are many success stories, but first we need to define what is success, right? Because I think success can be different for everyone. Success can be, for example, let's take my example. Success for me was to be able to work globally from wherever in the world with amazing professionals that are willing to embrace this methodology. So I've been able to use legal design to design my own way of practicing, my own way of working. And so for me, that's an amazing success. But for others, it may mean different things like growing your practice, having more clients, or just starting a new practice and finding clients and delivering a service that will make you as a professional feel more fulfilled because you really see you have a direct impact in the life and business of your customers. And so when we think of the more tangible projects or aspects of legal design and how it can help, I think one of the best examples are, the traditional terms of use and privacy policies that we know nobody reads, unfortunately, especially for the younger audience. It has been shown that 97% of website visitors don't read the terms of use for the apps they use. And very recently, I think Netflix has shown that with the latest Black Mirror episode. I think Joanne is awful, right? It's this crazy story that happens to the character because she blindly accepted the terms of use. And well, you have to watch the series to know the end of the story. But as you know, Black Mirror never usually has a happy ending. And so when you think of those terms of use and privacy policies that take so much of your time and expertise to draft, then unfortunately nobody reads them. And so we have seen many success stories within our legal creatives community. I haven't mentioned I created Legal Creatives as a platform where professionals from all around the world learn this methodology and apply it in their practice. And we have seen such great stories when it comes to redesigning the terms of use, redesigning privacy policies, also redesigning contracts, for example, partnerships agreements, but even designing litigation memos in a way that is going to make the case more compelling, the argument more effective for the judge to take a decision and render a decision. And we've seen that happening all around the world, even in places where the use of legal design as a methodology was not known, and some courageous and brave professionals deciding to implement what they had learned with me on the platform and to use it in their practice to better serve their customers and to also be sort of more persuasive in their memorandum at the court. But if I can go even deeper and tell a little bit of how I entered into legal design, maybe that could be useful, and at the same time share my success stories. And you will see it's not necessarily what I expected.
Go ahead, sure.
Actually, I started in 2013 when I discovered in Toronto, Canada, that we could use creativity as a problem-solving methodology to innovate. And at the time, I had no idea we could use creativity in such a way. I had always thought it was just for the arts, for performance, and for creativity, right? And so I made it my mission to bring this into the legal field. And so I went to university, did research at the intersection of creativity, innovation, the law. At the time, we started to talk a lot about the future of the legal profession. We started to see more and more technologies being developed for lawyers, law firm, the courts. And it was like a perfect moment. I saw it as a perfect moment for me to dive in even more into those concepts and topics. And eventually I started to use what I had researched for myself. And at the time I wanted to develop a platform that was a tech platform to connect lawyers with customers and to sort of have a great experience throughout the client-lawyer relationship, which we know is, not the easiest way from the perspective of the client. We hear, those jokes about lawyers. It's, charging for every little thing, and it's long, it's complicated, it's a bit obscure. So the platform was designed to solve that problem and to make that experience better. To make a long story really short, we started to develop this prototype, went to a big tech conference to showcase the prototype and get customer feedback. And then that was 2017. And then I realized all the feedback from the lawyers was not so great, that the customers were so excited, but the lawyers were like, I'm not ready for this digital practice. And is it really compliant with the ethical obligations? And how is this going to work? And I went to bar associations in the US, in Canada, and they were like, no, we don't like technology. Actually, technology is bad. At the time, it's kind of, it was a bit like technology was the evil, And I was like, wow, am I really going to succeed with this platform if, customers seem to like it, but lawyers don't want to use it? And so I was like using legal design. I was like, I tested, I prototyped, I got the feedback, and I realized it's going to be a long journey. So maybe I should just do something else. And so I just ditched one year of my work. But I think I saved myself a lot of energy. I saved myself a lot of time, a lot of resource, pivoting into the education of legal design, which was something people wanted to do at the time. So this is how legal design works. It's giving you cues whether or not the thing you want to do is going to work or not. So in that case, my success story was I learned that it was not worth my time in 2017 to do that. Now, fast forward 2023, maybe this project would work, but now I'm in a different place and I'm doing a different thing. But the success story is sometimes just either you win or you learn. So I hope this helps, Jacek, tell a little bit about those different success stories.
Yeah, sure. And I just want to take a step back and ask you, why do we even have to educate lawyers in creativity? Because with your work and with work of other professionals who are around legal design, it's all about education in creativity. Why do we have to do it?
Well, we have to do it for a couple of reasons. First, I think it has been proven that creativity is among the top skill to survive and thrive in this 21st century world. And the reason for that is because there's a lot more competition in all the industries, and including the legal industry. The competition is quite fierce when we think that we have alternative service providers, we have tech platforms, we have AI. AI has been found to be this new generative AI, the possible biggest disruptor for the industry. So how do you differentiate yourself from others as a legal professional? How do you differentiate yourself from AI? People could use AI to get legal services or at least legal information, right? Legal help, because it's just faster and easier. We know that the AI tools are not perfect, but the customers, they just need a quick, immediate answer. And AI is today doing this a lot faster than any law firm or lawyer. So how do we reduce that gap between what customers want and what lawyers can provide? And creativity offers that structured methodology to get there. So to start looking at a way to deliver the service in a new way, in a better way. Because creativity is just the search for the new, and the search for the new is what leads to innovation. So it's especially relevant for anyone who wants to innovate. There's no one who can innovate without creativity. Creativity is the path, and anyone is creative, including lawyers. In fact, lawyers are extremely creative when you think of the way you put the argument, the way you use the facts and make a case for your clients. There's lots of creativity in there. There's a lot of creativity when you have to plead a case as well. And there's lots of creativity when you want to market yourself, and you work in the marketing field. You know that it takes a lot of creativity too. And so I believe in today's world where customers' expectations are changing and all of the offering on the legal market is very much alike, creativity is a great way to differentiate yourself and to show that you are the best option for your ideal customer.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this. And I'd like to add to it is that lawyers are very creative, but they don't perceive themselves as creative. And I think this is where you come in and show them that they can use their skills in a little bit different way and thrive with this. But let's switch to lawyers, to the people you work with on a regular basis. So what lawyers expect of legal design when they approach you? Are they looking for ideas for icons, graphics, or maybe something else?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jacek. So I think many lawyers see legal design as really creating visuals to make their documents more beautiful, to make their client proposal more beautiful, to make their website more beautiful. And although beauty is a part of design, it is not at the core of design. The core of design is functionality. How does the service work? How does the legal information, how is it presented? How is it delivered? Do people understand the information better? Is it more effective? So most of the lawyers who discover legal design think, oh, it's about colors and it's about icons, making things more beautiful. It's a bit like marketing, but it's not. I mean, it can be, but it's not the core function of legal design. The core function is to ensure that the legal information you deliver to your clients is going to be more effective, and that the way you work to deliver that information is going to be also more efficient. And it's all about the customer satisfaction. Is this contract that you draft, is it really helping your client achieve their goals? So it's not just about legal protection. It's also about this proactive approach as a legal professional to help the customer achieve the strategic business goal. So it requires a mindset shift. This is why it is not necessarily easy to do legal design properly, because you need to operate that mindset shift and start looking at the way you work from a different perspective, from the perspective of your customer or your user, as we more commonly say in legal design. And that means asking for your customers' input and feedback. That means, as we call it, testing what you have created and prototyping. And those concepts are very, very foreign for many lawyers because Lawyers are expected to deliver the perfect service the first time. But when we think of legal design, we are looking for ways to improve the service. We're looking for ways to innovate. We're looking for ways to differentiate ourselves. And so when we open a space to allow ourselves to do better, to serve our customers better, then this is where all the testing, all the prototyping, all the iterating makes total sense, because you're looking for a way to improve. If you think of Google, Amazon, and all Apple, why are they so big? Because they are constantly looking for ways to improve the service and to make their customers happier. And so we are basically using this design thinking methodology into the law to help legal professionals deliver a better service for their ideal customer.
I'm glad that you brought up mindset management, because there are two areas I would like to ask you about in that matter. First of all, creativity and legal design just imply failure. And these failures are crucial parts because you learn from them, as you said, either win or learn. But at the same time, law is mostly about rock solid solutions. No errors are allowed. And how would you say, how can we combine it?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So creativity is a fundamental aspect in the legal design methodology, but also empathy. Empathy is also another important aspect. Empathy with your client, empathy with your customer, to understand what they really need, and creativity to come up with a better way to deliver the service so you can meet those real needs. And so I think empathy and creativity are really at the core. And as you say, Jacek, it implies that you're going to try new things. And trying new things can be really scary for anyone, especially for lawyers, where we're not trained to do things differently, to do things in a new way. But the problem is if we don't do things differently, if we don't try to improve the service, we're just going to be, unfortunately, left behind with this new disruptive world. We have technology, we have digital transformation, customers' expectations have changed. We have lots of regulations we need to comply with. It's really complex in this global, interconnected world. So how do we do things better? How do we do these things differently? We need to try new things. And try new things means, like you have said, sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. Like I have said earlier, I decided to go on this route to create a tech platform back in 2017. And I realized if I keep going, I'm going to fail even more. And so I just decided to stop there and to pivot and do something that would be different and that would be most suitable for the market and what I wanted to do. At the time, I was really into innovation, but not everyone needs to start from afresh and create something new. You can start with what you already have and see how you can improve things by using your creativity, which is basically generating new ideas and then experimenting based on those ideas to see if the customer reacts better to the service. And going back to the examples of the terms of use and the privacy policies, when we know that 97% of the younger generations don't read at all those privacy policies and terms of use, what if we can find a way to be able compliant, especially, for example, Europe, there's the GDPR, you have to have transparency. It's a mandatory requirement. But the way we do the privacy policy, the way we do the terms of use, is it really transparent? Is it really building trust? Maybe not so much. Can we do it differently? And we have seen countless examples of a lot more creative ways of presenting those legal information on websites that engage people, and that builds trust. And that ultimately is good for everyone. It's good for the business, it's good for the lawyer, and it's good for the user. So it's a win-win-win situation.
In one of the interviews, you said that clients want to buy outcomes, not time. So how legal design can help lawyers in changing this popular attitude that billable hours are the holy grail of the legal business?
Yeah, well, that's a really tricky question. It's a very important question, though. It is true that in the industry, we see still so many legal professionals and law firms billing by the hour. In some jurisdictions, it's more accentuated than others. And the reason why we do that in the industry is for lack of a better option. And so legal design helps us rethink the business model, redesign the processes so that we can deliver better outcomes for the customer. And in today's economy, where customers are looking for speed and ease, it is even more so important to streamline those processes in the back end, to see how we can integrate technology in a intelligent manner, and to also package the service in a way that is showing the value for the customer in terms of problem solving or reaching their goals and outcomes. So a little bit like what you have said, Jacek, in one of the interviews we've had together, nobody wants to buy time, but people, I think you have mentioned criminal law and civil law and family law. Nobody wants to buy criminal law services, but they want to get out of jail. Or nobody wants to have a family law, but they want to get divorced in a nice way, limiting collateral damages. So that's why we need to rethink the way lawyers market themselves, the way lawyers deliver the service, so it's more outcome-based. And in fact, it's not just me saying it. There are countless of experts and thought leaders, including Richard Susskind, which is a really, really famous researcher from the UK, who also, has stated actually for decades. But the change is hard. Change is hard. It's not easy. But the good news is we have a structured methodology we can use to operate that change and to course correct as we implement the modifications or the innovations, so we can ensure that we're going to get to great outcome for us and for customers. So it's a fabulous methodology and it works. So I hope it answered the question. I think I even forgot the question as I was answering it.
Yeah, it's completely fine. And with your expertise in legal design and with your students from all over the world, is there any side of legal design that is not appreciated enough with all this discussion that is going on the internet at the moment?
Yeah, well, I think many lawyers see legal design as a way to work on the information that is presented to the client. So a contract, document, an engagement letter, and redesigning that information to make it on brand, but also to make it more effective. And this is the big buzz today in the industry. You will see on LinkedIn, if you put the hashtag legal design, you will see quite a big number of projects that lawyers share about what they have been able to do with visuals to communicate information. And sometimes it's just creating sort of infographics about a new regulation, a new law, or infographics about the regulatory regime. And it does attract a lot of attention on social media. When you think about it, an image can be processed so much faster than a long blog post. I mean, blog posts are great too. Of course, you cannot just communicate with images, but it does attract attention. It does the job. But legal design is not just that. It's so much more than the visuals to communicate on social media, so much more than the visuals you can integrate in your documentation. It's really a way of thinking about how you can deliver the best customer experience. And in that way, it helps you as a legal professional identify areas where you can improve, maybe save time, reduce complaints, maximize satisfaction with client retention. And when you work in-house, it helps you do more with less, because we know there's a big tension today. Everyone has to do more with less. And when you are a small team in-house or even a bigger team and you have so much to do, you need to find ways to streamline the work and to reduce the number of questions you receive, to speed up also the time required for you to support the business functions. And legal design helps take into account all of the processes and doing that with the customer in mind, with the user in mind. So it's always about, making that adequate, reducing that gap between what customers expect, what lawyers can deliver. And even if the law is complex, it is possible. We are seeing so many examples of professionals who have gone that route. So beyond using visuals for legal docs, using legal design for legal operations, integrating legal technologies, or even developing new digital platforms and new technologies. And it does work, because if you don't involve your customer in the process of integrating tech or developing tech, you're just going to do like what I did in 2017. You've got this brilliant idea and then you realize nobody wants it. So you want to involve the customer with you on this journey And again, you have a structure you can use and a framework you can use and techniques you can use. So it gives you a sense of, security that this is a safe route because there's a process, it works. And we see many lawyers finding like amazing ideas using this legal design methodology.
And speaking of clients, there's a quite common situation that business is few steps forward from legal industry, from law firms. Can you see any questions or demands from the client side, from the business side toward law firms in terms of using legal design?
Yeah, so that's a great question. We are starting to see more and more clients being aware of legal design because of the power of social media. As I have said, we see on social media quite bigger number of examples for the use of legal design being shared by professionals in the legal sector already doing it. And so when clients stumble on those posts, some of them are really excited for this because they really see the value of communicating the information in a way that is more modern, that is more 21st century. Especially when you think of business owners who work online, who have digital platforms or e-commerce or tech platforms. It's all about the design. It's all about the images, the interactive of the visuals you have, and creating that great customer experience throughout your website. So you never want your customer to, stop as they are navigating on the website because they stumble along on a big chunk of block of text with legalese, black and white, when the rest of the website is all colors and design and audios and videos and images and graphics. So many clients that know about this are actually asking for it and sometimes approaching the lawyer who's making the post to work with them because they don't want a traditional approach once they know this exists. Unfortunately, many clients still don't know about legal design and they don't, you cannot want something you don't even know exists. And so this is why today I think we have a great opportunity for lawyers who are interested to get started because it's a bit like a blue ocean. You don't have a lot of competition. The problem is your clients don't necessarily know about this. But if you educate your customers on the value of using this approach, you can instantly differentiate yourself from on the marketplace and offer a very unique service that is legally binding. I mean, everything you do with legal design is legally binding, but also visually attractive, more effective. And as we say in the legal design tech words, like usable. So people can actually use what you deliver for real, right? It's not just something other lawyer will be able to use or a judge will be able to use, but it's also something you as a business owner can use. And so it's been interesting to see the trends evolving towards a more positive and bigger adoption of this methodology.
So if this is so great, and I think legal design is great at its core, what are the stopping factors for law firm owners? Like, why not all law firm owners just hop on the legal design train? And how do they approach it from your experience?
Yeah, well, a couple of reasons why law firms are not adopting it. The first, most obvious reason is that, as I have already mentioned, legal design is not yet widely known. So again, you cannot use something you don't know exists. So this is the first thing. And this is why I do on the social media so much education to bring awareness for this methodology, to have more lawyers know about it. So I think that's the first reason. You cannot use something you don't know. But even when lawyers know this methodology exists and that they can use it, I think one of the biggest obstacles is first the fact that they may not know exactly how it works, right? So lawyers want to know how things work. And if they don't, they're less inclined to use it because there's a lot of fears around making sure that whatever is produced is legally binding and legally accurate, and how to create the visuals. Can lawyers create the visuals themselves? Do they need a designer? What will clients say about it? So there's lots and lots and lots of doubts and lots of questions and uncertainties. And so what I do is I try to dissipate those doubts as much as I can using social media, but also in the trainings that I deliver, showing ways to actually do that legal design in a way that, you don't need a designer because this is not about making arts. This is about the functionality of the information and the service. And also showing ways to do that in a way that does not diminish the legal accuracy. And so I think once, again, to recap, once lawyers know about this and they want to do it, I think it's very important to either learn or to get an expert do it for you, right? But I would not recommend just giving it a try and trying to improvise because you may make mistakes and you may find the process really difficult. So again, either you learn or either you hire an expert. But I think you will see great returns. From the examples we have seen, it's really impressive. The client feedback, of course, your client has to be on board as well. So you see, there's lots of factors you need to take into account before you do it. But once you find the right clients, you have learned or you have an expert or both, well, then you can get really impressive results. The customer's feedback is really top notch. Like people are really impressed. It helps create better relationships in business. It helps comply better. And it creates a new image for the law. So it's good for lawyers. And also for the business owners, it just shows that even the legal aspects are dealt with in a more modern way.
On the notion of getting law firm owners on board of this legal design, let's imagine a situation where law firm team member, either be a junior member or a mid-level person in law firm, wants to be involved in legal design and what they can do to convince partners or owners that legal design is actually a step towards the future, how they can have them involved.
Yeah, well, I always say start with a problem, right? It's not just let's do legal design because it's fun or because it looks great. Legal design is here to help us solve problems. So what is a recurring problem you have in your law firm or in your in-house department? Do you receive a lot of questions after you deliver the service? You need to clarify what you already produced. Well, then it's a good sign. You can actually do better right from the start. So improve right from the start. So that is a great sign. Like, what are the problems you would like to solve? Are those problems current? Do you currently experience this problem? And is this problem frequent as well? And then once you identify your problem, what I always recommend is to start small and to say, hey, let's try this new thing. We have seen it works. Other lawyers have done it. Here are some successful examples. Here are some metrics that show it actually works. In fact, there's lots of research and case studies that show it already works. And let's just try to apply this methodology to solve the problem. And this is at the point where sometimes the business owners, the law firm owner is sending someone from the team to learn. So for example, right now we have someone who's learning with us from the Philippines, working for US law firm and learning this methodology to be able to do that with more confidence because of having the structure and the knowledge. And so again, it's about solving the problems. What is the problem you would like to solve? And from there, using the methodology to help you resolve that problem and get the results that you want. And in many cases, surprisingly, the outcomes surpass the expectations. Of course, for that, you need to do it well. You need to do legal design properly. There's a process to follow. There are techniques to use. It is possible. It is not always easy, but it is possible. It works. And when you do it well, you get some good results. So I think this is where I would start. Start with a problem. What is frustrating you? What is frustrating your clients? And from there, use this methodology to navigate the process of solving it and solving it better for all the parties involved.
As this podcast is mainly about legal marketing, are there any areas that you can see where legal design can actually be combined with legal marketing or maybe even with legal technology for a greater good, for better results?
Yeah, there are so many ways legal design can be used for legal marketing and legal tech. In fact, let's start with legal marketing. I think it's the most obvious. So when we think about marketing, it's all communication, and communication is design, isn't it? The way you communicate is about the way you write or the way you talk, the tone of voice you use, and the imagery that goes with your text, right? So legal design definitely helps with that. It helps also think of your ideal customer. Who do you want to attract? So it kind of is very much aligned with legal marketing and the work that you already do, Jacek. in the sense that it's helping clarify the value proposition, and it helps law firms clarify who they want to work with and what kind of service they're going to deliver to solve the customer's problem. When it comes to technology, it also helps with the customer experience. So technology is a tool for us to deliver the service better, faster, easier. But you can only integrate technology well if you really know why you need it and if you only implement it in a way that is effective. What I mean by that is we see lots of big failures. For example, in-house departments adopting contract life cycles tools and then seeing lawyers don't use it or don't use it well. And maybe this is, making the process sometimes even more complicated than what it's supposed to be for the customer. And legal design helps you look at the areas where you need, like the task you want to automate and the experience you want to give to your customer to make that experience really great for the lawyer and for the customer. So it's very similar to legal marketing. I mean, the origin of legal design is design thinking, which is all about user centricity, customer focus approach with tech or without tech. Yeah, and I think it's just fantastic to see what you can do once you see the possibilities with legal design. It opens a complete new world of possibilities. And some people get excited. Some people get a bit overwhelmed. I think the key is to start with one thing and to do it well and then go to the next thing. And the more you do it, the easier it gets, the faster you can do it again and again and again. And this process is repeatable. So you can reuse it again and again for whatever project you need. It's the same principle, the same approach that you apply to different aspects of your work.
Yes, thanks for this, because it kind of gives a new perspective on this combined areas of marketing, legal design, and legal tech. And Tessa, the last topic I'd like to touch upon today is the education and training of legal design. Because as we all know, law is vastly country-specific, and it's probably really hard to develop skills in Polish, Brazilian, Canadian, or any other trade law elsewhere. But it seems that legal design is universal. And is it really a fact that it is universal, or are there any barriers to learning legal design globally?
Absolutely. Legal design is a human-centered methodology. It's centered on humans. In fact, at the origin of legal design, we've got design thinking, and at this origin of design thinking, we've got psychology. So it's about humans and solving problems for humans. And this methodology works wherever you are in the world. I know it may sound a bit weird. Let me tell you why I know this to be true. When I started in 2017 to use this methodology for myself, and then I decided to start teaching it for other professionals. And in 2019, I went on sort of a mini world tour. I went to Europe, I went to South America, I went to North America, and I started to share those findings and to help lawyers apply it wherever they were in the world. And I have seen lawyers from Europe using it and it works. I have seen lawyers from Africa using it. It works from Asia. It works from Australia. It works in all of the Americas. The only place we haven't tested it is Antarctica, but we're looking forward to it with lawyers from there. And the reason it works is because you have steps to follow, right? Those steps are always the same. You can move from one step to another, or you can go back at any time in the process. So it's a dynamic process, right? It's not a linear, like the law, you have to analyze the facts and then apply the law. It's a dynamic approach, right? It's not linear. You can go back and forward at any point of time, but the steps are just the same. And then what I recommend lawyers to do is to use their expertise to sort of enhance their service using this legal design methodology. So I always recommend lawyers to already have experience before using legal design so that you can use your knowledge, use your expertise, use your experience, and sort of enhance it with the legal design approach. For example, if I were to work with a lawyer from Poland, well, the Polish lawyer would have the local expertise. And then, for example, we could partner. So I have the legal design expertise, Polish lawyer has the legal expertise, and then we can work together to make that expertise sort of enhance it for the customer and for the lawyer. You need both, right? You need legal and you need design. So that's the only requirement. You can do the design yourself if you are keen to do it. And again, you don't need to be an artist. It's functional design, or you can have a designer do it for you. And as long as you have those two aspects, you can do it from wherever you are in the world. And in fact, we see lawyers working from all kinds of places with clients in other places of the world, as long as the client has the local knowledge and the legal design expert can bring this methodology and sort of embed that local expertise and package it with legal design. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. And just one more question, because we all know that lawyers love badges. They all love certificates. So are there any official certification programs in legal design?
Well, that's a great question. In fact, we've been the first platform at Legal Creatives to issue certifications. We started to issue certifications in 2020. And it's a great way to showcase the skills you have acquired in this field, to go through the program on the platform, to receive the guidance, to receive the feedback, to take part in the activities so you can get certified. Except for our platform, to the best of my knowledge, to date, I don't know any other certification process in place. I know that there are more and more universities integrating legal design in the curriculum. In fact, when I started in 2017, I started teaching legal design. It was called creative problem solving for lawyers. It was very successful. But now I really focus on the Legal Creatives platform that I run. What the certification does, to get certified with us, you need to take some activities, practical activities. And those activities give you a very unique opportunity to try for real what you are learning on the platform and to apply it in the practice sessions. And this is how you build your confidence to do this again, because you've already done it within the program with the guidance and with the supervision. So it's not just a certificate you can showcase like, oh, here I got this thing, I watched videos. No, you have to take part in activities. And that's how people get impressive transformations, like changing their role from being an in-house legal counsel to becoming legal design senior advisor, changing from a very traditional practice to building a legal design agency, and, having in-house lawyers struggling with how to innovate and integrate tech, to having a lot more clarity as to their roadmap for the next years ahead. And that is possible because of the practical aspect. So if you would like to learn, feel free to reach out. It's always a pleasure to talk.
It was a pleasure having you today on the show. Just please tell our audience what is the easiest way to reach out to you.
So the best way is to find me on LinkedIn, Tessa Manuello. You can find me there. You will see a lot of posts that I do there to get to know a bit more about legal design and how it works. You can also find my contact details at legalcreatives.com or send me an email, tessa@legalcreatives.com. It's a pleasure to help. Thank you for having me today, Jacek. It's been a pleasure to share.
Thanks for sharing everything, Tessa. Thanks, bye. To już wszystko, co przygotowałem na dziś. Jeśli masz jeszcze czas i szukasz inspiracji do rozwijania prawniczego biznesu, to jeszcze raz zapraszam Cię do odwiedzenia portalu marketingprawniczy.com. A jeśli jest ktoś, kogo Twoim zdaniem powinienem zaprosić do rozmowy, albo jest jakiś temat, który powinienem poruszyć, koniecznie daj mi znać. Mailem na adres podcast@tomczak-stanisławski.pl albo na LinkedIn. Dziękuję, że tu jesteś. Do usłyszenia już niedługo.